This is something that we need to have a discussion with EA. That's right, EA. I'm talking to you.
What's up, everybody? This is the Youngling Killer Man here, and today, I recently went back to play Battlefront 2, and I was having so much fun with my buddies, but then I became
You better
really
not be the
confused.
iPad kid
As
that
I was
pulled up to his
meditating and
house
watching
while
the
back
first
ago.
rockets, just like the simulations, I saw a vision of the future. It was a dark vision, so horrible I almost shudder to think about it.
No.
I saw a future completely devoid of Star Wars Battlefront 3. I recently had an epiphany. It's like, why hasn't Battlefront 3 been announced yet? I mean, it's been almost 6 years.
I'll tell you why. Microtransaction. Greedy ass motherfucker EA. That's why.
Since the last one. What could possibly be taking so long? And then it hit me like a blaster bolt to the groin. Battlefront 3 is taking so long because they're not making it.
Impossible. Perhaps
Dead
the
ass.
archives are incomplete.
And then I had an even worse realization. Battlefront 3 will likely never be released.
It never will.
Because always two there are. No more, no less. At this point, I'm convinced this series is cursed to never replicate the movies and create its own complete trilogy. So today, that's what we're going to talk about.
When was the car parked when you saw the channel name in the window? You know what's funny? I tried to peel the channel name sticker off my car, but none of the tools that I have in my shed will peel the sticker off. The sticker is just so fucking tough and durable. I can't even peel it. It's still there, but it's like half named. And I'm so embarrassed. I was like, you know what? Why did I buy the car sticker in the first place? I'm so fucking stupid. So, where do I park? I park far away as possible from the grocery store. I park at the end. And we just walk and walk. The walk of shame.
The tragedy of Star Wars Battlefront 3. But first, why is Battlefront so important? Yes, this is a dumb question, but Star Wars has seen hundreds of games release over the last 40 years across every conceivable
Wow, it's been 40
genre.
years already.
And amongst all of these Star Wars games, I'd go out and say Battlefront 3 is the most important and iconic. It combines virtually everything we love about Star Wars into a single game. Epic space battles, intense boots on the ground combat, large-scale warfare with vehicles, clones, droids, Wookiees, Ewoks,
Absolutely.
tons of different classes stretching across all three eras of the films. All our favorite heroes and villains duking it out across several different planets. Battlefront to me always felt like Star Wars' answer to other mainstream online shooters. Something that could go toe.
It's pretty straightforward. If LucasArts still exists today and was never bought by Disney, we would be having Star Wars Battlefront 3. Maybe less than 5 to 10 years, guaranteed. No more than 2016 until now. We should be having Star Wars Battlefront 3. That is the game we deserve. And he's right. I mean,
Toe with whatever the top shooter is. Fortnite, Halo, COD, doesn't matter. Battlefront can compete with it.
It
And
got
not to
me
mention
green
the fan
first.
service these games provided and memorable one-liners.
Now hear this. All hands man your battle stations.
All four mainline Battlefronts are in the top 10 list of best-selling Star Wars titles.
Star Wars Battlefront 2015 is the #1 top-selling game of all time. Oh, no, 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 no. Come on, people. You are not supposed to support EA. Now, the old rich people in their suits with their scrawny hands behind the executive department are going to be like, oh, look at that. Star Wars Battlefront is #1 top-selling game of all time. It's working. Start charging people more microtransaction. How is Fallen Order second place and Star Wars Battlefront's first place? How?
Ever. The Battlefront series has sold well over 43 million copies.
Yes,
That's like
Disney
a
fucked
fourth
Star
of all
Wars.
Star Wars
Thank
video
you.
game sales. And that's what's so confusing about this. EA has historically been, well, how would I put this? A company that might secretly be run by Mr. Krabs.
Is this good for the plot?
Battlefront is just an awesome series. It's an amazing concept. And better yet, it's a money printing machine. And they've decided to turn it off? Huh? Star Wars Battlefront 3 isn't happening? DICE won't get the chance to make it?
No!
This is what EA is known for. Copy and paste. Same thing with EA football, EA soccer, EA Star Wars. It is a fucking copy and paste recycle. They copy and paste, they charge you money, they copy and paste, they charge you money. That is why Star Wars Battlefront 3 has not come out yet. I'm telling you, folks, do not support EA. I'm telling you.
Fucking way!
What kind of nonsense is this?
So nobody's working on a
Fuck
new
you,
Battlefront
Spencer.
game.
Just kidding.
Why?
Love you,
Just
man.
in case you had the tiniest sliver of hope that I might be wrong about this, according to this VentureBeat article, DICE and EA are not working on Battlefront 3 and have no plans to. Ladies and gentlemen, please take out your lightsabers and join me in a moment of silence.
Okay. My eyes is twitching a little bit. That's how
Thank
pissed
you.
off I am.
And the craziest thing about it,
You probably can't see it, but I'm twitching.
A sales pitch from DICE for Battlefront 3. I guess everyone was putting all their eggs in the 2042 basket.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
He chose poorly.
As Tom Henderson says, due to licensing costs.
Oh yeah, for those who don't know, Battlefield. I met my wife on Battlefield 1 back in 2016-2017. One of the greatest multiplayer game of all time. But ever since then recently, after Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2 flopped and flopped, Battlefield 2042 came out, and it's the worst Battlefield game you can ever play on Steam. More than 50 to 75% people left Battlefield 2042, went back to Battlefield 4 or 3, maybe 1. They have more people on the server in old games compared to the new game. That tells you how much
more sales to make
how
the same
shitty
money,
EA
said
is.
one past developer. So EA was concerned about not getting 20% more sales than usual. Buddy?
Nobody says
Buster,
Bluetooth mode.
my guy, my dude. It's Star Wars. It's Battlefront. It sells on its name alone. I mean, just think about how fucking hyped people would be if Battlefront 3 got announced.
Oh,
Remember how
yeah.
I talked about Baldur's Gate 3 being the culmination.
If this is announced by EA, my reaction would be, oh shit. But if it was LucasArts, if they still exist today, I'll be like, hell yeah.
Of Larian's work on RPG.
Hey, Gaylord.
That's what I feel like Battlefront
Quick.
3 could have been. Maybe
Yeah,
if they didn't stop
quick.
working on the second game to make 2042, life would be a lot different and better. Just in case there weren't enough reasons to be salty about 2042.
I'm gonna put this on pause for a second. I don't watch Star Wars. Never really had interest to either. I seen the Han Solo one in theater when it first come out, but Disney refuses to see that their leadership isn't working on project. But there's still enough people who support Disney versus actual fans. So Disney makes shit movie and it's do good simply because it's Disney. Sorry for a long paragraph, by the way, Lamal. You know what? I need to tell you something. Kathleen Kennedy just announced there's going to be a new Star Wars movie coming out. In theater. Not Disney Plus. In theater. And guess what the movie's going to be about? Rey Skywalker. Yes. You heard me. Rey fucking Skywalker. Skywalker. Nobody asked for Rey Skywalker. Nobody did. Not even Disney fans. Maybe some, but not even the majority of Disney fans as well. Why are we getting a Rey Skywalker movie? We should be getting the Old Republic. We should gain the Sith lore of Palpatine's origin. We should get a movie of Yoda's origin. We don't know where Yoda homeworld is. We don't even have it in Star Wars lore. Not really. There's no geographical location. I mean, we should be getting really nothing. That's even a better answer, Gaylord. Exactly. We should be getting nothing. And this is my mission as every other YouTuber and other social media influencer. Our goal is allow Disney to get nothing. Make sure the revenue dropped. If it does, they'll be forced to sell Star Wars franchise to another provider, such as AMC or, I don't know. I can't think of any good companies because nowadays the majority of them suck. Netflix sucks. Paramount Plus sucks. Hulu sucks. It's all for money, yeah.
Forsaken release is a huge reason why EA is distancing themselves from DICE. In turn, DICE has decided, thank you, that they'll be focusing entirely on fixing 2042. As of June 22nd last year, I don't think anything has changed. DICE's general manager says, "We are only focusing on 2042. There is no time for anything else. In 3 years, we want to be the first-person shooter powerhouse that DICE deserves to be." DICE certainly deserves to be an FPS powerhouse, because they're not right now, and that's what this statement implies.
It is such a quiet thing to fall, but far more terrible is to admit it.
DICE is in a rebuild season right now, probably for a few seasons, which...
Let me tell you something. EA rolled the dice to gamble. And all at the end, they lost all the money for gambling with the dice. Very simple.
Makes sense. She also said, "I want the team to be really proud about Battlefield 2042. That is what they are chasing, and they have their hearts and passion there." You know, I was gonna make a joke about abandoning a ship that's already been sunk, but I can respect it. If you take a massive dump in the kitchen, you can't just wait for it to decompose.
I agree, Spencer.
You gotta clean that up. Get some disinfectant. I can understand why fixing Battlefield 2042
Greedy little white mitten up his ass.
is more of a priority in terms of like pride, but I don't quite understand why DICE isn't pursuing the more lucrative option. Probably because of EA. You know, 2042 was so bad in my eyes that working on it does feel like a lost cause, because I'm probably never gonna play it again. I doubt that game's launch is something they can recover from, like the launch of BF2. I'd rather them go back to updating that.
You know what's crazy? Battlefield 2042 is still on the Steam store today. It used to went from mostly negative to mixed review. There are die-hard Battlefield players out there, and look, I have mad respect for the love, the dedication, and the loyalty to the Battlefield franchise. I'm happy for it, because it gives the Battlefield 2042 DICE dev an opportunity to make up the mistake that they committed about, a year ago or two. They are still launching update patch for Battlefield 2042 and deliver content. That shows that we as Battlefield player, we care, and therefore it gives the DICE developer to care back. I think they should just focus on Madden and FIFA, because that's all there is the money come from. Most people from Europe buy every FIFA, lots of FIFA money come from content creator who put thousands of dollars in FIFA points and Madden points. Yeah, I mean, the majority of the customers in America support Madden football, and people in Europe or the rest of the world, technically soccer, which is called football, they support EA FIFA. And you know what? That's fine. But if you ever watch the Angry Joe show, every year, Angry Joe has proven a point that EA does copy and paste recycle and claim there's new technology. But if you look at the article of this year compared to the FIFA and EA Madden article from last year announcing new perks that's in the game, guess what? They're the same thing but different words.
To be quite honest, even if we're impatient as fuck and want a Battlefront 3 ASAP, I don't think anybody wants DICE, at least current DICE, to make one. Perhaps fixing and improving 2042 is a test for DICE, and if they prove themselves, maybe they'll get another shot. At the very least, we have a consolation prize, because at least 2 other Star Wars games are in development, an FPS being developed by Respawn, and an unnamed strategy game.
It got better,
those are some
Spencer.
pretty big reasons why we're not getting Battlefront
It got better
anytime soon. But
they reduced the lobby by in half. It used to be 128 per team, now 64 versus
I don't know,
64.
man. There's a lot of hurdles to overcome, like monetization. I'm not sure who loves live service games more, Activision
Oh
or EA,
my god,
but
no.
it's safe to say, I bet a
No.
lot of higher-ups
No.
were pissed
Ah.
they had to pull loot boxes out of the game at
No.
the last minute. I mean, the
I
entire
hate loot
internet
box.
got so pissed. It completely derailed their monetization plans, and they didn't even introduce microtransactions into Battlefront 2 until 5 months after release. That's 5 months of loot box sales they missed out on. No doubt this left a bad taste in EA's mouth. It left a bad taste in all our mouths, man. Sometimes I still get a faint whiff of goat vomit every time I think about someone paying for star cards. Like Battlefield 2042, it seems the continued updates, development, and content for Battlefront
There's no competition in sport game. There's for football and soccer. there's a piss and that game's dead, so there's no competition. They can just keep making money from it. There are people in this world who have the size of a peanut brain, play a sports game, and continue to support. Give them money for microtransaction. Give them money for a fucking $100 deluxe edition where you have to pay extra money behind the deluxe edition to get more sports stuff. But yeah, you're right, there's no competition. And that is the biggest problem in gaming industry when it comes to sport game. Now, however, I agree with Spencer. You play Battlefield 2042. It got better, but still, EA need to back off and let another video game company take over Star Wars and Battlefield. And we can all be happy.
Was there to repair the game's image as well as DICE's. You know, they ended up replacing loot boxes with paid cosmetics, many that were awesome, but no way in Hoth did they make more money than they would have with loot boxes. In this sense, Battlefront 3 might seem too risky to the EA higher-ups, and a game like that is gonna need funding. The stigma around this series is also too strong to ignore. I mean, loot boxes became associated with gambling, and several countries introduced new legislation as a result. This was basically the straw that broke the camel's back, and now
we need legislation now.
Surely abandoned the loot box model. The cold hard truth is that yes, we defeated the loot box menace, but we paid a heavy price for that. Battlefront 3 was the cost of that victory.
There you go. That is the reason why we don't have Star Wars Battlefront 3. But again, loot boxes. You go to your grocery store and you see this vending machine and you see all the scratch off tickets behind the vending machine. But in order to get a scratch off ticket, the machine asks you for your ID. You have to be 18 years in order to buy the scratch off ticket because in my clause, gambling addiction. But loot boxes, they're not gambling. No, they are. It's harming young children. It's harming a young generation of adults as well, making life decisions whether they should use the money to pay the bill or save for college or save it for retirement. Instead, they're throwing their cash at loot boxes. And once it's spent and you don't get what you want from the box, they're going to continue to spend. And that, therefore, develop a gambling habit. But you know, in Europe, they're passing legislation to have laws to restrict loot boxes from not happening. But in America, loot boxes is a huge thing and American capitalism loves it.
Any announcement for Battlefront 3 would bring up that same discussion again, you know? How the hell would they monetize this game without pissing people off? Well, paid premium cosmetics are always a barrel to dip into. So bottom line, DICE and EA aren't working on Battlefront 3 because it's too much of a clusterfuck. And although these reasons make sense, it doesn't make it any less disappointing. But Actman, I have an ace up my sleeve, a trump card. What if another studio were to make it? I hate to disappoint you, but that idea is more improbable than DICE making it. I mean, I guess EA doesn't hold a monopoly on the Star Wars video game license anymore. I suppose anybody could make Battlefront 3, but here's the conundrum. We all have pretty high expectations.
EA, I'll tell you this. EA did this one amazing thing. When Star Wars Battlefront 1 came out from Disney EA, the graphics was so beautiful. Everything looks so realistic. That was in 2015, 2016. It is 2023. And that game looks like it exists still today. Holds up to the graphic standard. Beautiful. The rest, it sucks. That's about it.
For an official third Battlefront. So anything less than what we have in 2 is going to feel like a downgrade. Like I said, DICE is in no position to make it, especially after losing so much senior talent in the last few years. And I want to believe you that another studio could do it, but the nail in the coffin for this idea is if that studio isn't working with the Frostbite engine, they'll have to start from scratch.
Exactly, from scratch. The thing with Madden and FIFA, what's the point of making a new game every year? The rules in both of respective sports have changed for both in like 50 years. How much new stuff that actually not just rebranded or slightly different with a new name if they to update an already dying genre of games, just what GTA 5 has been doing for the last 10 years. Releases update and bigger, and every year instead of focusing on a new game, I've recycled mechanic, rebranded menu, and nothing new. Sorry for a long paragraph yet again. Excuse me. Woo! I read your fucking paragraph so long that you made me burp. Money. There's the reason why. Money, money, money. They cut the budget of labor to bring down the costs and generate revenue up. They don't give a shit about you. They don't give a shit about their workers. It's all about the money for the big guys upstairs. Money, money, money. That's all they hear in their ears.
Now, the Frostbite engine can apparently be licensed to other studios, but it's also notoriously hard to work with. So no studio in their right mind is going to license that software, pay the licensing fee to DICE and for the Star Wars IP, to then take years to teach their staff how to use it just to salvage the work that DICE has. If DICE would even let them use that work. You know what I mean? You see what a clusterfuck this would be? So much awesome work has already been done that, like, scrapping all of that is just an awful idea. Whoever makes Battlefront 3 needs to build on what's already there, because that's the only way we're gonna get Galactic Conquest again. This is all besides the point that the perfect
Galactic Conquest. Oh man, it was like a memory core in my brain as a kid during my childhood. Galactic Conquest gives you an ability to do wherever you want to do with Star Wars. You have 100% free will.
Battlefront 3 had already been canceled once before. Unfortunately, there's just too much drama surrounding the series. I mean, the third and fourth games were planned by Free Radical and LucasArts, but bad blood between the two companies got them both canceled. Former Free Radical developer...
What you just saw was a footage of Star Wars Battlefront 3. It was actually made. He's going to tell you. I know you will.
Designer at Naughty Dog, Michael Barclay, said Star Wars Battlefront 3 was going to be legit incredible, and the fact it got canceled 2 yards from the finish line is an absolute crime. Gamers don't...
2 yards! 2 fucking yards! Just imagine working on the game for a couple years, and you're about to finish the game, go out and celebrate with your friends and family with the accomplishment that you achieved. And all of a sudden, you got an announcement from the big guy upstairs says, yeah, we're canceling it. We're pulling it. We're not going to make any money. You know why they pulled it? Because there are no microtransaction. They don't see if there's any way they can make money off of it. They don't see it. It's all about money, man. They know the game's good, but they know they can't make money off of it. Bullshit. You can make money off of it.
Don't know what they were robbed of. Oh, I know, Michael. I know that we are robbed of a contender for greatest Star Wars video game ever made. I know you guys were planning on having ground to space battles in the same scenario, the same map. I know that you guys wanted to add Master Coda, Asajj Ventress, and Ahsoka as playable heroes. Still don't have that. And that you could just take off
EA.
ship
EA is
and
like this
fly
to you.
up to an enemy carrier, and then it's just like you're in the Battlefront 2 space battles.
Dude, look how amazing this game is.
In the pre-planning phase, and it would have been all about what ifs, alternate scenarios. And I found some of the coolest fucking concept art that I can't believe none of this has been used to sell skins or anything. Like Dark Mace Windu, an alternate scenario where his lightsaber exploded in the duel with Sidious.
Hello?
But he survived, redeemed Vader.
I don't like Overwatch, but this is what they did with Overwatch. You get legendary skins, you get mythic skins, you get skins that are not canonical. Hello?
Look at that. Dark Jedi Leia, pre-cyborg Grievous. Shit, man, I'd pay good money for cosmetics like these.
I don't support loot box, but they're selling skins for a fair price. Hell yeah, I would support it.
Direction. It's such a shame, man. Free Radical had so many incredible ideas that you can check out on this archive site if you want to be sad. Although the unfinished gameplay looks rough, it gives you a pretty good idea of how awesome this game would have been if it was complete. These concept art images remind me of that alternate ending in the episode 3 game where Anakin kills Obi-Wan in the
I played that on PS2.
and then he kills Palpatine and says,
holy shit. So good.
No,
The galaxy belongs to me.
And that was one of like the coolest Star Wars moments ever. So imagine creating an entire game based around moments and stories like that. What would have happened if Darth Vader lived, you know, after Luke saved him from the Emperor? What if Luke turned to the dark side at some point? Maybe these games are just too
There's a game that's called Lord of the Ring Conquest. The Lord of the Ring. Where they have the good campaign and the evil campaign. In order to play the evil campaign, the game gives you a thrive, a reason to continue to play the game. If you beat the good campaign, the Lord of the Ring Conquest allow you to unlock the evil campaign to see what if scenario. Aragorn died, Gandalf died, and Sauron becomes the Dark Lord of the Middle Earth. That is how bloody brilliant Lord of the Ring Conquest is. And they can do the same thing with Star Wars Battlefront. Why not?
ambitious. And that's why we haven't seen a third one. Free Radical apparently was unable to meet milestones, deadlines, and eventually LucasArts got fed up with it. And though Battlefront 2015 offered a great spectacle, it just wasn't it, Chief. You know, nobody wants to have a neutered Battlefront again with no Clone Wars or space battles. You know what I mean? Anything less than what we currently have with Battlefront 2 would feel disappointing. Realistically, it's just such an imposing game for anyone to make. So with all that being said, I think it's apparent why Battlefront 3 hasn't been made, why it was canceled in 2008, and why EA rejected a sales pitch for it, and why nobody is currently working on it. It's a monumental task.
I wonder why.
I hope to see it one day. I mean, hopefully before I die, because there's a hole in my heart that only wrist rockets can fill. The series just might be too ambitious, too much of a risk, and not a single developer is in a position to build off the latest entry.
Dude.
So where does that leave us? Well, you and me, we're all just brothers and sisters without an army.
This is so
That is
sad.
the tragedy of Star Wars Battlefront 3. But what do you think? Post your thoughts and ideas for your ideal Battlefront 3 in the comments below. Like the video if you
You want Star Wars Battlefront 3 back? Convince EA by not buying their microtransaction, stop buying their Madden, stop buying their FIFA fucking game, stop buying loot boxes, stop buying their player cards. It will force EA their hand to sell the Star Wars franchise to a different video game company. The problem is, at the same time, we got Disney on the other end has the bigger hand to own Star Wars franchise, and that's a bigger issue to combat. But on the video game side perspective, if we combat EA by not buying their shit, they'll be forced to sell their IP to another video game company, and we can get Star Wars Battlefront 3 ASAP. That's the problem. Why it will never be released. Money, 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 money. That's the problem. So sad.